G'day everyone and welcome back to Digging Deeper Ag Chats with Al. I'm really excited to kick off 2026 with you. We've just finished our first full calendar year of podcasts and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's listened, shared an episode, sent a message or stopped me for a chat. I genuinely appreciate it. This year we're aiming to bring you even more great guests with plenty of practical conversations you can take straight back to your own operation. We'll be featuring more local producers too. People right here in our region who are doing good things, having a crack, who've got great stories worth sharing. I'm also pleased to say that we've got some regular voices returning. Chelsea from Herd Solutions will be joining us on a monthly basis with veterinary updates and timely animal health advice. And Morgs from Elders is back as well, committed to a monthly livestock market update to help us make sense of what's happening and what it might mean on farm. So whether you're listening in the ute, on the tractor or in the yards, welcome back. I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoy what we've got coming in 2026. Welcome everyone to Digging Deeper. We've got Brad Obst today to do a couple of things. First, a market update for us, then we're going to talk about AuctionsPlus. How are you, Brad?
Yeah, good, thanks, Alistair.
Now, last night, you got a tin roof on the house?
Yep.
Yeah, could hear the rain, could you?
The rain was certainly very good. Yes, could hear it. And, yeah, it's good. It was good.
Puts a smile on my face whenever there's rain on the roof.
Oh, yes, it's no, it does. It makes a bit of difference. Certainly, there's some smiles over at the sale yards this morning.
Are you a rain gauge checker in the morning, are you?
No, I've got a clientele that keeps me updated with the rain, so
Yeah.
I don't need to listen to it. I don't need to read it. So.
Have you got some figures yet?
I was talking to a fella yesterday, and he mentioned he'd had 37 mil for the month.
Right.
And there was people at the yards there talking, anywhere from sort of high teens through to low 30s out of this. So, yeah, just depended on where they were. But
Well, the old Super El Nino hasn't sort of showed its face yet, which we're very thankful for. So,
don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Now, we've got you on here for a couple of things, like I mentioned at the start. But firstly, markets. What are you seeing in the markets of recent?
Look, we've seen over the last 10 days or so. Certainly, the cow job has certainly taken a good rise. Little bit of rain up north and the likes of that, probably just restricting supply just a little bit. So it's sort of making the abattoirs down here a little bit keener to source the cattle. And we've probably seen the physical, the sale yard price rise sort of in the 10 to 20 cents over the last couple of weeks. So there's certainly some good positive signs out there.
So what are the indicators sort of sitting at then at the minute?
Can you ask me something I know? Look,
cents per kilo.
In general, look, the better cows in the market today, for the good, well finished beef cows, was sort of anywhere from 390 sort of through to 420 or 30. With a couple of Euro cows make a little bit better than that.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of Limers and Cross cows, and certainly that flowed into. There was a very limited supply of trade cattle there today, but they sort of probably seen a 10 or 15 cent rise as well, and some very good milk Vealers, which was good to see in Bairnsdale, and they sold in pen lots for $5.30, so that was certainly a good increase on what we've been seeing fortnight or 3 weeks ago.
Does it matter what colour still? You said the Euros are making pretty good money. Is that just because of supply at the minute?
Look, I think with those Vealers, they were milk calves, and they were very, very good. They were a Limers and Cross calf. And they sort of, you are playing to a pretty small market with those milk calves now, but we had 2 people there that wanted them today, and they sold very, very well.
So they're going to go get their head cut off, are they?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
So they're proper Vealers.
Proper good old fashioned milk Vealers. Yeah.
Don't see that much anymore, do you?
No. Geez, the days are gone. It used to be the whole thing revolved around milk calves. Well, it's not now. It's certainly revolves more around the restocking type cattle.
I heard it may be a bit of a myth, but I heard that the traditional, I think it was in Italy, a true veal cattle hadn't actually put its feet on the ground.
I can't comment on that. I don't know, but
seems like a waste to me. But I heard it somewhere. I thought I don't know if that's true or not.
The true, going way back, even before my time, the milk veal was a lot younger than what the traditional veal that we sold.
Yeah. And
they just had milk, and that was their diet. But they might have been processing them at sort of 4 months, 5 months. But our milk veal, the traditional we used to do in Gippsland and a lot of other areas, was sort of that 8 to 9 month old, 10-month-old calf that had lived beside mum getting the milk off mum and also eating grass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So kind of like a sucker lamb, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah.
Yep. Now talking about the lambs, I know Morgs doesn't like stepping in the sheep yards too much. Do you venture out in the sheep yards, the sheep sales?
I'm a great believer in trust and delegation.
Right.
And I've got young Billy Trinder, and he does it. I leave pretty much him to run the sheep sale. He does a very, very good job. He's got and I think that's partly because he's got a very keen interest in sheep, and he really does a good job. So no, I don't venture in there much. In fact, it gets quite there's quite a few comments get made when I walk into the sheep yard. So.
You have to start introducing yourself to the cottage.
Yeah.
A shout out to Billy. I actually taught Billy at one stage many years ago. He was very keen to get out of school, so let's just say that about his studentship. But he's actually becoming a father soon, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Him and Maddie. That it's going to be an interesting household, that one.
Yeah.
A bit like Carlton and Collingwood supporters. You've got an elders employee and
pink and green in the house.
Pink and green in the one house. That'll make for an interesting clothesline. But yeah, no, and congratulations to them both. They're both fine young people, and they're certainly on a pathway to success, I think.
And that kid's destined for something related to agriculture, isn't it, with two parents like they have? So
yes, yeah.
Now, we're just out in the yards here at the Gippsland Ag Group, and we've got 17 young heifers. Bit of promo here, I guess, going up on AuctionsPlus.
Yeah.
I've never actually done the process before, and admittedly, I didn't know anything about it, so I thought actually we'll talk a little bit about the process. So far, it's been a very straightforward process for us. It's just yarding the cattle, and then you come in and do the rest. So I guess if you could talk us through what the process is, Brad.
Well, I think it all starts. The AuctionsPlus process starts back with the discussion that you have with your agent at the time, and sometimes you get people, they'll ring you up and can you come out and have a look at my cattle? We want to put them on AuctionsPlus, and you say, yeah, right, we come out and we have a look, and not all the times we do it. Like sometimes for various reasons, whether the markets dictates that we do something else with them, the likes of that. But you certainly have that discussion and then come to a consensus which way you want to do it. And then you move forward from there, and then it's just a simple process of planning when you're going to do it, the timing around it, how much lead time you want between your assessment and when you sell them, to facilitate promotion of them and the likes of that.
I'll just pull you up there for a second, because on the phone I didn't actually say that I wanted them on AuctionsPlus. I said we've got 17 PTIC to AI. What made you decide that AuctionsPlus was a good option for these cattle?
I think that with those particular, with the ag group's particular heifers, they're not a big group of heifers. Like there's 17 heifers, and there's a really good story behind them, and I'm big on that when selling future breeders is telling the story of how they've been bred, where they've been bred, and there's a good story in them of where they've been bred and how they've been handled since then. Plus, if I just think with something like that, they're quite a valuable article, and to just turn around and go, let's put them in the sale yards next week, you really are throwing all your eggs in one basket. Now that works for a lot of classes of cattle. So I believe that with those sort of heifers or those sort of breeding stock, we need to get it out to a bigger audience. And you can put them on there's other electronic formats which you can do it on, which is just a static advertising type thing. But I think that what AuctionsPlus brings to that is a greater level of detail and a greater level of trust in integrity, I suppose is what you say, through the assessment. And generally, if you do it right, it's a good thing. So my mind, I thought the best thing with those heifers was we needed to get them out to a broader audience than just the Bairnsdale or Coomera or sale yards. And I think that's what AuctionsPlus delivers. Generally on a bigger line of cattle, it really opens you up to vast distances is where you'll get the interest from. But a small lot of heifers like that, we'll get people that aren't necessarily sale yard people, or there's a lot of people that look at AuctionsPlus that we don't know about, and that's the ones we probably want to find.
Yeah, I check it twice a week probably just to keep my finger on the pulse, I guess. Now, you said bigger lines. What sort of numbers are you talking when you're talking bigger lines and classes, I guess, too?
To really, I think AuctionsPlus strengths really come into play when you start talking, and 2 decks of cattle,
Yeah.
6 decks or 3 decks of cattle, a B double or a double deck, and sheep the same, 4 decks or 6 decks. I think it's
What sort of numbers with the cattle?
Depending on their weights, steers, proper feeder steers, sort of 400 kilos, 70 to 80.
Yeah.
For a B double, 45 to 50 on a 2 decker. Sheep, depending on whether they're lambs or sheep, 600 to 620 or 30 on a B double, 450 to 500 on a thing. But it's because you're not paying the freight. I think that's where your buyer's paying the freight.
Factor that into though.
Yeah, so you've got to have that number to make it viable for them. Have those numbers to make it viable to truck them a big distance. So yeah.
Yep. So you rocked up. I had the cattle yarded for you, and you normally like to get out and have a bit of a joke, but you were very serious as soon as you stopped in the pen there. You're walking through the cattle, walked them through the gate 3 or 4 times.
It was very odd for me to actually have to pull up and wait for someone else to get off the phone.
Sorry about that.
But no, look, you were busy doing something, and it was just the heifers present so well and so quiet that it was a good opportunity just to walk through them and get a feel for the heifers and see what their temperament's like, because that is part of the assessment that you have to comment on temperament. And a really good chance to get into those finer details. And, I just looked through there, and there's only 2 heifers there just showing a little bit of white on their udder, which is not a concern. One heifer with a very, very small pink eye scar in her eye, not a concern. But you've got to mention it, or you should mention it in the assessment, so it's not a surprise to the people that see it.
Yep. Now, you just mentioned that you're actually an accredited AuctionsPlus assessor.
Yeah.
And so you have to go through some sort of training, I'm guessing, and I guess if you make too many mistakes, there's repercussions as well for it, because it's pretty important.
It comes down to you do an AuctionsPlus course, and then from there you start off as a level 3 accredited assessor once you've passed the course, and then depending on the level of your assessments and the feedback that the buyers provide, you then progress to level 2, and then you progress on to level 1 after so many assessments, and the buyers can rate you.
Right.
They come back and they get asked questions like the accuracy of the assessment, what they felt, how the media presented it, like the photos and the videos, that sort of thing, communication. All those sorts of things come into that thing. It's a bit like an Uber rating, I suppose. Like,
right. What are you, Brad?
Me, I'm level 1.
That's the top dog?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, but I think most agents do, and there's assessors that I know that don't necessarily work for Nutrien. They work for other companies and the likes of that. They're very, very good assessors, but they're not level 1, and that's probably that. I think that's only volume.
Yeah.
And I know one's level 2. He'll get to level 1 pretty soon, and I think that's good. I think that's really good for the industry that we get people like that, because you're accountable, and it makes it quite good. And plus, in the assessments, you have a tolerance. You've got tolerances in there for your weight, so you can only be, I think it's 5% out on your weights. It gets a bit subjective with the fat covers because a lot of breeding stock don't get killed, so that gets a bit subjective there. But your accuracy of your information you provide on PTI, so you've got tolerances all the way through there, which you've got to work within. So yeah.
Yep. So you walk through them. You picked out any little faults in the cattle. Are you looking for like sore feet and things, all that sort of stuff at the same time?
Yep. Because often you don't see them. If you just have them presented to you up the race, you miss out on the one that's perhaps just carrying its leg a little bit, or got a scar on it, or you can miss that because you're only seeing one side of it as it's coming up the race. So that's why I try to take the time to walk through them in the yards and the likes of that. And yeah, it's pretty important to do that. So yeah. Yep.
So they come at the race. We got the scales out and weighing each individual animal, and you're recording that to put it in as well.
Yeah. Look, I do it pretty old school. I write it in my notebook.
Yeah.
There is a proper lot of forms that you can fill out and the likes of that, but I just like to do it like that. A previous employee, Ali Woodgate, when Ali worked for me, she used to come and be like an assistant to me. She was fantastic. She'd just bring the computer, and I'd just yell on it out, and she was just putting it straight in. It was fantastic. So you can do that, put it straight from your iPad or your computer straight onto the system, which certainly lessens your back time behind the scenes entering, because it is quite consuming. So we gather all that information and get it all together, photos, videos, and then it's tidying it all up and getting it on the system and being happy with your assessment.
So now, we've recently sold a house, and so the real estate took the photos, assessment, sent it to us. Do you send something to me, or do you? I just go, no.
No, you can look it up online.
Right.
I do like to send the assessment to the client and say, have a read of this. Is there anything you want to add, or is there anything you disagree with? And if they send it back to me and they're happy with it, we'll proceed.
All right, so we've done all that, and you're going to... How long did it take you from, say, the assessment to get in online? It's Friday sales, isn't it?
We won't put them up this Friday.
Yep.
I believe it's a little bit too short a lead time. I like to sort of we'll get it... we'll have it up on the screen probably tomorrow night, but for next week's auction.
Yep.
And that gives us a lead time to promote it via the social media, through our network, via email and such. Plus, we'll also get on the phone and talk to people and the likes of that. But I just think you've got to have that bit of lead time. 2 days or 3 days, I think, is a little bit too short to really do your background agency work properly.
Yeah, because you'll probably get some phone calls about them, I'm assuming, as well, won't you?
Yeah, once we get them up. And then, again, like I mentioned to you before, that once we've done the assessment, I'll send it to you and you'll go through that and go, yeah, no, I'm happy with that. What you can do then is you can publish the assessment. So you publish the full assessment. If you don't publish it, it doesn't actually come out in full detail until the day before the sale. So that's where it's very important to get all the details right and get them accurate. And then, because once you publish the assessment, you can't change it. So it's very important to get that right. But that gets all the details out there, hopefully for a week or more.
Yep. Now, as the vendor, in discussion with you, we set a reserve that we're happy with.
Yep.
What happens if we don't meet that reserve?
What happens on auction day is it comes up on the screen and it's as boring as anything watching it. It's not like going to the sale yards. There's no action. There's no nothing. There's just a screen with squares on it, and they're going blink, 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 and that's all that's happening. But it gives the buyer feedback in as such as that if they're sitting at a price level, it'll say nearing reserve.
Yep.
So, and at that point, they're letting you know that they're getting very close to meeting the reserve. Once they meet the reserve or hit the reserve price, it comes up on market. So that you know that if you bid on them, you will either get the heifers, or someone else still can bid over the top of you, but you're committed to taking them if they get knocked down at your bid. If the sale finishes and they haven't met the reserve, the highest bidder has 40 or 90 minutes, I'm not 100% certain, to press a button on the computer and meet the reserve.
Oh, yes.
But generally there's been phone calls back and forward between the selling agent and the purchaser in regards to what they're going to do. And sometimes the people go, it's only $10 more or $20 more, and no, we'll take them, or no, we'll stick to our bid, in which case you wait for the period of time, wait for the grace period to expire, then you get on the phone and you go.
See if you can negotiate.
So,
Yep. Does the auction go for a set time, or I've been involved in a ram sale before that if there's a bid, then it goes for another 30 seconds or something?
Yeah. It starts off as open, and then after a period of time, it gets down to, I think, 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Then it falls down to, and they're really good. The AuctionsPlus really trying to tighten it up, and a fair portion of the auction now is taken up on a 20-second timer.
Yeah.
So any bid on any lot that's in that particular sale will trigger the timer back to 20 seconds. And you see sometimes you're sitting there and you've been sitting there for 3/4 of an hour watching a mob of cattle that you're trying to buy, and it gets right down to 5 seconds and bang, someone will bid. And you've got to wait the whole process again. But that gives everybody the open and the opportunity to fully assess what they're going to do. So I think it's not too bad, but it does drag on a bit.
How long on average does it sort of go for?
Oh, hour and a half.
Yeah,
hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. So, but there's certain ways you can circumvent that. If you, as a purchaser, you can set
higher bids.
You can just set maximum bid.
Yeah.
And what that does, you put your price in, and it doesn't automatically go to that.
Yeah, it just beats the next guy, doesn't it?
Yep, it just keeps you one in front. And if you're buying cattle or you're bidding on cattle, you can see when someone's put a maximum bid in, because you'll bid and it'll go dong straight away, and it just click. And from a purchaser's point of view, I think it's not a bad thing, because you just
set your price and then
set your price, go away, go and do whatever you got to do, come back and see whether you've bought them or not.
Yeah.
There's no, oh bugger, it's only another $20. It's only another $20. Like it's so.
That's a bit strange hearing an auctioneer say that.
Fun. Well, yeah. It's yeah, I suppose it is, but we're in that situation. We're on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if they don't meet reserve, is it true that we get a couple of goes at it before there's some costs involved?
One more.
Yep.
You get so you pay your listing fee. You're in for your listing fee the moment you put them on.
Yep.
So your listing fee, and then if you don't sell them in the first auction, you'll get the next one for free as well. So they give you 2 cracks at it to get it, and that's a good thing, because it encourages people to be realistic with their reserves. If you could put them on there and walk away with a no result and not have to pay anything, well, it only encourages people to put stupid
reserve. Hungry.
Yeah, so I think it's a good thing. So,
Yep. Very good. Anything else on the AuctionPlus system before we sign off?
Not really, but I do think...
Oh, actually, I got one more thought.
Yep.
If we do buy cattle and they turned up and they're not as advertised, what's the process?
Process is you've got 24 hours from arrival to notify the agent that you've purchased them off, and then generally, hopefully, you can come to a consensus that there's been a problem along the way or something like that, and hopefully the assessment's not wrong. But you can sort of negotiate that.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't just say, oh, we don't reckon they're like they were. They've got to come back with something measurable, like the weights weren't right, or the age is not right, or they're Herefords and you said they're Angus. They've got to have something.
Yeah.
Got to have something. They just can't say, oh,
just don't like them. You
said they were 400 kilos. Well, I reckon they're only 360. Well, if somebody presented me with that, I'd go and weigh the cattle and tell me what they weigh. You know, and if that's the case, well, we've got to make some adjustments. In my time, I've only ever made one claim over, and that was purchasing cattle. I haven't had any against me. Touch wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was just a simple error actually. The person that put it in didn't put the shrink in, so they just weighed them green and didn't put the 5% curfew or allowance for that in. So they turned up here and they were 5% light. So, so and that was easily remedied. Everybody realised that it was a genuine mistake, so it was no great drama.
Yep. And then you just sorted it out with the final price or something like that. Is that how it worked out? Yep. The other thing too, trucking, I guess. Who organised trucking and?
The purchaser.
Yeah.
Purchaser is responsible for that. Sometimes we as agents will get asked, oh, can you help us out? Can you find someone to do this and do that? And that's our job. That's what we'll do. But it is the purchaser's responsibility. And it is also the purchaser's responsibility to ensure that the NLIS transfer has taken place. It's not the vendors. So.
Oh, yeah. With most animals, I guess. So.
Yeah, all animals actually. Yeah.
And I've seen on there that there's like a time period, like a grace period of collection. Is that? Can you state that, or is it a fairly standard?
It's generally 7 days. 7 days from auction. Being on a Friday, I'd generally give them till the following Monday. So a week from the auction is the next Friday. Give them to the following Monday, because there's a lot of I just find for some reason a lot of stock get picked up on weekends, because I think it suits the trucks. They get to Melbourne if they're going back to wherever, gives them, they can pick it up to take home. So do that, but that is generally set by the vendor. You can tighten it right up if you like, and you can pick particular days. And the person who buys them is buying them on the understanding that that's the rules of the game. So, but 7 days is generally rule of thumb.
Yeah. No, looking forward to the process actually, and I'll be watching them go online. So
Yeah.
if I've got a spare hour and a half, that is. So.
Well, you can get it on your phone. It's good. And that's the other thing. It's really accessible. AuctionsPlus.
That's actually, I just thought of something. I've only ever watched when I've been buying animals on there. If I'm selling, do I have a back door to my cattle watching them get sold? Or no. So I just watch them like I was a purchaser.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's no different screens for agents, purchasers, or vendors. It's the one screen.
Oh, really? So even you don't get to see?
No, and interestingly, the losing bidder never gets disclosed.
Yeah, right. So you can't call up and say
no. So if I had a problem with somebody that was bidding on them, and I said no, they, for some reason I go there. If that sale falls through, I'll never find out who the losing bidder was.
Right.
So, and it's a good reason. It brings a lot of integrity into it. Basically, you can't sit there and run that person along, and then get caught with them and fall back on the person who was the previous bid.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if the agent is playing funny buggers and bidding on the stock to run them up, if they get stuck with them, they'll never find out who the previous bidder was. So that brings some integrity into it. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you jam some bids in on AuctionsPlus as well, you guys?
Never.
All right. Good to hear, Brad. I've actually got a final question, which I didn't actually word you up on, but I'll hit you cold with it in a minute. But anything else on AuctionsPlus?
No, I just think, look, it's not. It's people just got to remember. It's a good system. It's not everything to everybody or to every class of stock. I think people can set themselves up for disappointment by putting the wrong stock at the wrong time up on AuctionsPlus. It'll be a no result. So I think that's the discussion I'd encourage people to have with their agent is, is this the right platform at this time, and are these the right stock? And generally, if you have that discussion and you both parties be open and honest about it, you'll come out with a good result.
Yeah, if you want any more info, Brad Obst at Nutrient Ag Solutions or anyone else of the crew there will be able to help you out.
Yep.
Full of wisdom, you are, Brad. Now, the last question I've been asking my guests this year is, if you could go back to a young Brad Obst, what advice would you give yourself?
Probably not have a fallen out with the Melbourne Footy Club. And that probably wouldn't. That mightn't have been a really good time. But look, if I think back to myself as a young person, really enjoyed myself, had a great upbringing and the likes of that. Probably save earlier. Actually, start saving a bit of coin earlier. It's all good when you're young, going out, mucking around, and everything like that. But at some point in time, you got to start to wake up.
Put the lives back in the jar, you reckon?
Yeah, I think that'd be. If there was one thing I'd look back at, probably could have given up one night out a week. So,
one night. How are your kids going with that?
Yeah, really good, really good. Yes, Andrew's he's got a butcher shop over in the Eastwood.
Yeah, that's going well.
He's going really good. Yeah. Really.
I heard Rianne's back in town. Well, kind of back in town.
Yeah, she's at Swifts Creek. She come back from the Territory. She spent 5 years up there, and she's back here now. She's teaching at Swifts Creek and loves it. Loves the school. Loves the people. The kids are really good. And the people are good. So. Yeah, no, she's been back 2 years now. So.
Oh, thanks very much for coming in for this assessment and also for jumping in the chair for this podcast. Very valuable, and I think we'll receive it really well. So thanks very much.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, bye for now. A big thank you for tuning in today. And remember, if you have a question about today's episode or a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out to one of our many platforms and join the conversation. We're here because of your passion and commitment to agriculture. Together, we can build a stronger farming future.
This podcast is made possible by the Future Drought Fund Regional Drought Resilience Planning Program, co-funded by the Victorian and Australian governments.